$40 billion. That's not a typo. Google just wrote the single largest check in AI history to a company that's competing against them. What does Google know that we don't? Hey, welcome back to TechNuggets. I'm Aseem, and this is where we break down the biggest moves in tech so you can build smarter and move faster. If you're a founder trying to make sense of the AI landscape, hit that subscribe button because this channel is built for you. Now, here's why you need to pay attention to this story. Google will invest $10 billion in Anthropic immediately, with another $30 billion potentially to follow. And understanding why tells you everything about where enterprise AI is heading in 2026 and beyond. If this helps you rethink your AI strategy, smash that like button for me. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about the sheer scale of what just happened. Anthropic said that Google is committing to invest $10 billion now in cash at a $350 billion valuation. That's the immediate injection. Alphabet will invest another $30 billion if Anthropic hits performance targets. Here's what makes this wild for founders. Initially focusing on business and enterprise use cases, Anthropic has vaulted into a leadership position in the generative AI race. Annualized revenue has gone from $1 billion at the end of 2024 to $9 billion at the end of 2025 to a stunning $30 billion as of early April 2026. Let that sink in. From $1 billion to $30 billion in 16 months. A $350 billion valuation therefore puts Anthropic's valuation at under 12 times sales. That's actually a reasonable multiple for hypergrowth. Google's not paying for hype, they're buying into real traction. And Anthropic isn't just raising money from Google. Amazon announced its own $5 billion investment into Anthropic earlier this week, with the option for up to $20 billion more. Both cloud giants are betting on the same horse while competing against it. So, why would Google invest $40 billion in a competitor? Three reasons founders need to understand. Anthropic relies heavily on Google Cloud for chips and infrastructure, including access to Google's tensor processing units, or TPUs, which are specialized chips designed for AI workloads and considered among the best alternatives to NVIDIA's in demand processors. This is brilliant. The agreement gives Anthropic access to a much larger pool of Google Cloud infrastructure. Google Cloud will provide 5 gigawatts of computing capacity to Anthropic over the next 5 years. 5 gigawatts. That's enough to power a small city dedicated to running AI. Anthropic is the only frontier lab whose primary training stack runs on something other than NVIDIA GPUs. Claude Opus, Sonnet, and Haiku models are trained predominantly on Google's TPU pods. For founders, the lesson is clear. When a giant invests in you, look at what they're buying. Google isn't buying Anthropic's AI. They're buying the largest customer for their TPU chips. OpenAI is positioning compute as the decisive factor in winning the AI race. We are moving to a compute powered economy, Greg Brockman, co founder of OpenAI, told reporters. Microsoft has OpenAI locked up. A former senior Google Cloud executive characterized the deal as defensive. Sundar is paying to make sure that the most credible non OpenAI frontier lab does not drift into a Microsoft or Oracle camp. The investment strengthens Google's position in cloud computing, where demand has been boosted by AI workloads. The company reported that Google Cloud revenue rose 36% last year to $58.70 billion. Much of that $40 billion will cycle right back to Google as cloud services revenue. It's a loan that pays you back. All right, here's the actionable part. What does this $40 billion deal mean for your startup? The practical implication is that Anthropic's API will not run out of capacity in the way it did during late 2024 Cloud 3.5 Sonnet shortages. Rate limits, queue depths, and priority tiers should ease through the second half of 2026. If you've been building on Cloud and hitting capacity limits, relief is coming. Crunchbase data shows investors poured $300 billion into 6,000 startups globally in Q1 2026, up over 150% quarter over quarter and year over year. Corporations expect to double their spending on AI in 2026 from 0.8% to about 1.7% of revenues. Enterprise buyers have budget, they're looking for solutions. The Google deal extends rather than replaces Anthropic's Amazon partnership. Anthropic is playing both sides. You should too. Multi cloud optionality gives you leverage. there is rightfully little patience for exploratory AI investments. Each dollar spent should fuel measurable outcomes that accelerate business value. Investors and enterprise buyers want proof of ROI. 4 out of 5 CEOs are more optimistic about the ROI of their AI investments than they were a year ago. Nearly all CEOs believe that AI agents will produce measurable returns in 2026, built for outcomes, not demos. All right, let's bring this home. Here's what you learned today. First, Google's $40 billion bet isn't about competing with Anthropic. It's about locking in the biggest customer for their TPU infrastructure and hedging against the Microsoft OpenAI alliance. Second, compute is now the decisive battleground in AI. Whoever controls the gigawatts wins. And third, for founders, this means capacity constraints are easing, enterprise AI budgets are expanding, and the winners in 2026 will be those building applied AI with measurable ROI. If this gave you a clearer picture of where the AI industry is heading, smash that like button. It really helps the channel. And if you want more breakdowns like this, strategic analysis you can actually use, hit subscribe and turn on that bell. Next week, we are diving into why enterprise AI adoption is hitting a wall and how smart founders are breaking through it. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Google made the right call investing $40 billion in a competitor, or is this going to backfire? Drop your take in the comments. I read every single one. I'm Aseem. This is TechNuggets, and I'll see you in the next one.